I wanted to kind of wrap back into the end of this talk about Elon and Doge, because I think people's fear, this terror that people are feeling, is that what's going to happen is this unelected bureaucrat has been appointed into office, and he's going to be able to go into an agency and fire people without any congressional authority. He's not a bureaucrat. Well, he works with, he's like a CEO of Tesla, of X. He owns $1 billion
just clarify, he's not a bureaucrat.
How do you define bureaucrat?
Bureaucrat is like an HR administrator who's like, hey, I want to come in here and use this room for Friday. Okay, well, fill out Form H3B, then go speak with John over in administration, and he'll get you. That's a bureaucrat. Okay. And so the deep bureaucracy that people refer to with the deep state is that, as we saw with the James O'Keefe undercover videos, Trump says, hey, we want to, say, pull all of our troops out of Syria. Or RFK is a better example. The guy said, RFK will say, let's get Florida out of water. And they'll go, okay, we're going to put together the commission to figure out how to do this. These are the people who are hired and basically just create bloat and obstacles to actually doing what RFK says just to do.
Yeah, and in fact, Elon made that point that the bureaucracy is a government that is run by the bureau, and he wants a democracy. So he wants to bring it, or the meritocracy, not a bureaucracy. So he wants to get away from the bureaucrats running the bureau, running the government. I agree with that. But people are afraid that a guy that was unelected has been appointed. He's a billionaire businessman, and he's going to now have the unadulterated authority to go from organization to
it's a lie.
Department and fire people.
It's a lie. It's a lie. It's fake.
I don't think he can. That's the thing. I know that the way I've been doing a lot of research, and I posted a great post on X if you want to follow up on this. He's been appointed. The Doge, the department, was basically U.S. Digital Services. Trump renamed it U.S. Doge Services. It's the same organization that Obama created in 2014. It was legally created. It's legally there. He appointed Elon Musk as a special government employee as the I haven't seen an official appointment. So as far as I know, US Doge Services, doesn't have a current administrator. I think Elon's acting as de facto administrator. He might officially be there, but if you search for it, they give you the old administrator. And he's doing legal appointments. He's allowed to work for 130 days a year in that capacity as the administrator of Doge.
He is not the administrator of Doge.
I don't think there is one right now, which is concerning me. So
let's clarify. When you said he's allowed to work for a certain amount of time, it's irrelevant because he's not.
And why does it concern you?
Well, you said because if he's doing the job de facto, but he's not technically appointed, that makes me nervous.
Why?
But why
because you're supposed to follow the law and appoint the person to do the job. If they're doing it off the record, that's very dangerous for our country.
He's an advisor. He's an advisor to the president. The president can select whoever he wants as an advisor.
He's very concerned with process.
To give us
that's what it sounds like.
Ian wants bureaucracy.
I think.
I'm like Thomas Massey like this. I'm obsessed with the process, and you need in the integrity of the process.
Let me ask you a question. Can Trump ask a friend for advice?
Of course.
So we're done. There's nothing wrong with it.
If that was all that was happening, but Elon was actually hired as a special government employee.
He's not getting paid.
Not even paid.
Not, but you can hire a special government employee with or without pay.
Yeah, he's still a special advisor.
So he was hired legally to do a legal job.
I want to know what that was.
And what's happening now is, I'm going to shout out, I was watching The Daily Show last night, right?
Shout out Jon Stewart. Yeah,
they literally, in the opening of the show, it says TDS in big bold letters, for real. And they were doing this segment called Is It Legal? And they kept saying things that Elon or Trump had done. And then this guy is increasingly, with surrounded by books and messy glasses, going, I don't know if it's legal. And I just want to clarify something for you, Ian. And I want to clarify something for everyone listening. The question is not supposed to be, is it legal? The question you need to answer that has no bearing on what we do or want is it illegal? Because the reality is, we do not operate in this country upon fear of something not being legal. If it is not explicitly illegal, you can do it. If it is codified in law that is illegal to do or unlawful, then you cannot. So when Elon Musk does things and they're not codified in law as crimes or unethical or anything like that, asking the question, is it legal, is a waste of our time and is imposing upon free American individuals some kind of responsibility to the government to check with them if we're allowed to take actions. No, it is the other way around. The government's beholden to us. If Congress wants to pass a law and write it down and say, you can't do this, there's no question of, is it legal? We do things as we see it. And if you got a problem, what did we find? They're trying to pass a new bill, the Elon Musk Act. That's right. Because what Elon is doing is totally legal, and there's no law saying he can't do it.
That's what I'm wondering. So the executive order that Trump created Doge with, it said it mandates that Doge has an administrator that reports to the White House chief of staff. And I don't know who that administrator is. In order for this organization to function, it needs an administrator. I suppose it would just default to the president until he appoints one.
Let's just pause real quick. Who cares about that organization?
Well, that's the organization that's credited with doing the work right now.
So what?
So who's running it?
Who cares?
I do, man.
For what reason?
So should everyone.
Why?
Because that's the process of our government. If you're going to, through executive order, create an agency that says you need an administrator, but then you never appoint one, what the hell is going on?
Where does it say you need an administrator for that?
It says it in the executive order in section 3B. Read down. It's section 2. It's in section 2 of the executive order. We can pull it up. It says, here, I'll pull up the executive order right now.
If you were to ask,
structure, reorganization, and rename, section 3.
It is not a budgeted part of the United States government, which requires approval from Congress.
It's 3B, section 3.
No, let me pause again.
Say that again.
The U.S. Digital Service, despite its name, is not a budgeted part of the U.S. government, which requires approval from the United States Congress.
Correct. It was created by executive order by Obama.
So it is not a budgeted part of the U.S. government.
Yeah.
So that means it's operating under only executive order, so Trump can literally do what he wants as the executive.
Well, he signed the executive order that it says the establishment of a temporary organization there should be a U.S. Doge Services Administrator established in the executive office of the president who shall report to the White House chief of staff. That's section 3B of the executive order.
You would feel more comfortable if he did another executive order saying, okay, we don't need an administrator.
Or if he appointed someone as the administrator publicly.
This is, I got to be honest, you're arguing like,
well, if it's
the door is supposed to be locked, but you have a deadbolt. It's like a deadbolt is a lock. It's not the lock I was talking about.
I'm steel manning the argument that it's illegal. I want to make sure that we seal this up so that it can't be broken up in court and undone.
I think you're getting into nuance that quite literally not even the Democrats are getting into in terms of their complaints.
I don't know, man. Maybe not. Maybe not.
I think the arguments against Elon Musk is that he has many interests that the government is also involved in, and there's a conflict of interest there. He also has many business interests abroad. So, for example, he has SpaceX here, obviously Tesla here. He also has mega Tesla factories in China. So these are conflicts of interest down the line that could be an issue.
If the government
is the best argument I could think. I also do think Doge and Elon Musk is doing a good job.
I think so too.
There are credible arguments that this
is the concern is that if the president by executive order sets up a department that oversees tech companies and then they hire a special government employee that happens to be the CEO of a tech company to oversee that organization that oversees tech companies while he's still the CEO of a tech company, you've got a big conflict of interest.
Well, what if Xi Jinping just starts penalizing Elon Musk's mega factories in China? Then Elon Musk will feel the pain, and he would, hypothetically try to get Trump to work with them to stop, him penalizing him in China.
Wait,
do you understand that?
No. Say that again.
The issue with Elon Musk is that he has many business interests, domestic and abroad, that could potentially influence his thinking when talking to Trump. So, for example, in China, he has many mega Tesla factories. And if Xi Jinping wanted to penalize Elon Musk, he could hypothetically make it harder for him to do business in these factories. And that could influence the way Elon Musk would try to get Trump to negotiate on Xi Jinping with.
Yeah, not stopping Trump.
Does that make sense here? Am I doing
import tariff from China? So,
but I don't know if that hit the Tesla stuff specifically. And
because Tesla doesn't really import from their factories
beyond the international stuff, even domestically. Elon Musk has a lot of business interests with SpaceX, where he has to work closely with the government. So the argument would be that having a close advisor who has so many interests with the government could be a conflict.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's illegal.
Elon Musk,
no, legal,
not illegal, but it's a conflict of interest.
It could be a conflict of interest.
It is a conflict of interest.
I think the issue here, I'll just give you my perspective, is this is a degree of granular bureaucratic debate that matters nothing to me. My concern is that we have departments like USAID and the National Endowment for Democracy or whatever. We have these activist organizations around the world that are being funded to the tune of massive amounts of money. And so when I see Elon Musk go in and be like, hey guys, did you realize they just gave like $8 million over the past, they're $1 million a year to this news organization for bloated subscriptions? I go, oh wow, why are we wasting that money? I don't care if it's a substantial portion of the revenue of that company. I just think I'd rather give all of that $8 million to a single 9/11 first responder in need of help. Literally, let's just do that. How about that? Let's all agree that instead of spending $30 million or whatever the number is in various media subscriptions, we just give that to one first responder or one veteran. I think that's just a better use of our time. So anyway, my point is this. Elon Musk is going in as effectively an advisor to the president, as a special employee. Trump could do it himself, but he's a busy guy. He has the authority to do it himself, but he's a busy guy. So he says, Elon, you've got business experience. Go and find the bloat. And we have found so much insane bloat. Teaching Moroccans pottery. For real. That was a really funny one I heard.
They've been doing it for thousands of years.
Right?
They need help.
There's one where it's spreading atheism in Pakistan, I think, or something like that. There was one where it was doing gender-themed plays in Peru or something. So when Elon's like, hey, this is $40 million of your money going to these programs, I go, that's a really big problem. And then, Ian, with all due respect, you come and say, but is Elon allowed to point this out? And I'm like, well, Trump could point it out, but Trump asked Elon to do it. So I really don't care about the nuance or the granular bureaucratic debate of how do we, through the parliamentarian process, formalize Elon Musk when not even Democrats care about that.
There are times when I think that we talked about this last night, that breaking the law is the only way to move forward, like suspension of habeas corpus after the Civil War. They just dispensed with the Constitution and we're like, we're just going to do what we need to do to
that
establish
was wrong.
order. Well, but it worked.
Did it?
Apparently.
Well, not apparently. It's a question
order.
of what did it do? No. What did the suspension of habeas corpus do?
It allowed the government to do crazy stuff.
Where and why?
I don't know the specifics, but I
Exactly.
know that they dispensed with the Constitution for a short period of time.
The suspension of habeas corpus was a corridor between D.C. and Pennsylvania, specifically because Maryland was a slave state and they needed access to D.C. and they were concerned that the sympathies of Maryland would interfere with their ability to move troops to protect D.C. So they said from this corridor, from here to down here, in this area, don't mess with the U.S. We are at war. And there was an instance where a random guy got locked up and he refused to play ball, and they held him until the war was over and let him go. There was an instance where they went and arrested a bunch of the state representatives from Maryland for having Southern sympathies. These things I don't feel were good. And I don't know that we have evidence that doing that actually improved the efforts. To be fair, you can say the U.S. government is securing this corridor under martial law. But the argument that the general suspension of habeas corpus was a good thing that needed to happen, I don't know that that's true.
I know. And in this situation, if they feel like, look, we have been subjugated by a business class, by bureaucracy since 1913, the Federal Reserve, these bureaucrats have taken over our country. We need to suspend some sort of metaphorical habeas corpus to get our country back. I mean, and they're willing to break the law. The jury's out on whether or not that's a good thing, because it's the first step on a slippery slope. If you do it now, you think the next president's not going to go do it? They probably will. So you got to be real careful about adhering to every letter of the law. That's why I'm bringing it up.
We have long maintained this position of, but guys, the Democrats are doing bad thing, and if we try to stop them, then what happens if later on someone else uses the powers we created to do bad thing as well? What that ignores in the slippery slope argument is that a bad thing is currently happening. So the Democrats are abusing the system, spending money with reckless abandon to burn everything down and spread their crackpot Marxist ideology. And we go, wait, if we stop them doing evil, later in the future, someone else might do evil. And I say, okay, when that happens, we will fight against that evil the same as we fight against this evil right now. That's the only thing I see. Because otherwise you end up with these scenarios where it's like, we better not implement this new policy lest they use it against us. And it's like, but they're using evil things against us right now.
This is sort of the
we
argument.
have to just win the culture war.
Yeah, like you've got in Dungeons and Dragons, kind of silly metaphor. You got law and chaos. You know, you get to pick how lawful do I want to be, how chaotic. You get to pick on that scale, and I'm sort of in the middle. Like if a law is evil, then you should not do it. The Nazis, for instance, made all that crap they were doing legal in Germany. People should have been, people that were hiding Jews in their attic and stuff were basically violating the law to do good. So you've got your law versus chaos, and then you've got your good versus evil. And you can be chaotic as hell and be really good. And that's Robin Hood.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.